Look at the most powerful person in any room. They are not the loudest. They are not the most agitated. They are not the one gesturing wildly or speaking with frantic, unfocused energy. The most powerful person is the calmest person. They are the anchor, the one who can absorb pressure without breaking, the one who can face chaos with clarity. While others are swept away by the storm of circumstance, they are the eye of the hurricane, still, focused, and in absolute control. This is not an accident of personality. It is not a genetic gift. It is a skill. It is a fortress that is built brick by brick. This audiobook is the blueprint for that fortress. We are not here to discuss meditation apps or to offer gentle suggestions. We are here to engage in a rigorous re-engineering of your internal world. We are here to dismantle the automatic, reactive machine that currently governs your life and replace it with a centered, deliberate, and unshakable presence. You already know the cost of living without this skill. It is the sting of regret after you've spoken in anger. It is the missed opportunity because anxiety clouded your judgment. It is the quiet frustration of watching others remain composed while you feel your own pulse hammering in your ears. It is the feeling of being hijacked, a passenger in your own body, driven by impulses you cannot control. That ends now. This is not a book about suppressing emotion. Suppression is just reactivity in disguise. It is a pressure cooker waiting to explode. This is also not a book about apathy. The opposite of chaos is not emptiness, it is order. This is a manual for active composure. It is the art of feeling every human emotion, the fear, the anger, the stress, and choosing your response. We will begin with the physical. We will treat the body as the control panel for the mind, mastering the breath and the nervous system as a technician masters a machine. From there, we will rebuild your psychological framework. We will teach you how to create space between stimulus and response, how to observe your own thoughts without judgment, and how to rewrite the damaging narratives that send you into a panic. Finally, we will take these skills into the field. We will apply them to high-stakes conflict, to crisis decision-making, and to the subtle art of leadership. This journey will change not only how you feel, but how others feel around you. Your calm will become an anchor for them. Your composure will become your authority. If you are finding value in this introduction and are ready to begin this transformation, we invite you to like and subscribe to our channel, the Premier Audiobooks. We are dedicated to bringing you powerful, life-changing content. Your support allows us to continue this mission. The work ahead is difficult. It requires accountability, but the reward is singular. It is the ability to walk into any room, under any pressure, and know with absolute certainty that you are the master of your own self. You will become the calmest person in the room. Let us begin. Chapter 1. The Anchor and the Storm. Have you ever watched someone lose control? Not in a dramatic, cinematic explosion, but in the small, quiet ways that signal a complete surrender. The slight tremble in the voice during a tense negotiation, the tapping of a foot that accelerates into a frantic rhythm. The eyes that dart around a room, looking for an escape route from a conversation they can no longer handle. Or perhaps you don't need to look at someone else. Perhaps you have felt it in yourself. That rising tide of heat in your chest, the sudden, shallow intake of breath, the mental fog that descends the exact moment you need clarity the most. You have felt the humiliation of being reactive, of being a puppet pulled by the strings of external events, a difficult client, an unexpected bill, a critical comment. This is the default human experience. We are born reactive. We are wired for the storm. The storm is the chaos of modern life. It is the relentless assault of information, the constant digital notifications, the social pressures, the professional demands, and the sheer overwhelming noise of a world that never stops asking for a piece of your attention. This storm is not just external. It is the internal chaos, the self-doubt, the anxiety about the future, the ruminations on the past. Most people spend their entire lives being thrown around by this storm. They are tossed from one emotional state to another, their peace of mind entirely dependent on whether the seas are rough or smooth. When things are good, they feel good. When things are bad, they are a wreck. They are leaves in the wind, and they have mistaken this lack of control for just being human. This audiobook is here to tell you that there is another way. There is a state of being that is not dependent on circumstance. It is an internal foundation, a place of stillness and strength that you can build inside yourself. This is the anchor. The anchor is not a magical charm that repels the storm. The storm will come. The winds will howl, and the waves will crash. The anchor's power is that it holds you firm in spite of the storm. It keeps you grounded, present, and in command of yourself while everyone else is being swept away. This is true calm. Let us be perfectly clear about what calm means in this context, and more importantly, what it does not mean. Calm is not apathy. It is not an empty, hollow-eyed detachment from the world. The apathetic person feels nothing, and therefore risks nothing. The calm person feels everything, the urgency, the stress, the fear, but they have chosen to place their core self outside of that emotional weather. They are the observer of the feeling, not its prisoner. Calm is not suppression. Suppression is the act of taking a volatile emotion and shoving it down, pretending it isn't there. This is the strategy of the pressure cooker. It requires enormous, constant effort, and it is doomed to fail. The pressure always finds a way out. In a sharp, passive-aggressive comment, in a sudden breakdown, in a stress-induced illness. Suppression is just a delayed reaction. It is the ultimate act of weakness disguised as strength. No, the calm we are here to build is active. It is deliberate. It is an act of profound courage. It is the conscious decision to be the source of your own stability. To build this anchor, you must first understand the storm. And to understand the storm, you must understand the machine that generates it, your own mind and body. The reason you lose control, the reason you feel panic, is not a failure of character. It is a failure of your internal systems, systems that were designed for a world that no longer exists. Let us dissect the anatomy of your own panic. It begins with a trigger. This trigger can be anything: a car horn, a critical email from your boss, or even just a sudden negative thought. Your brain, specifically a small almond-shaped region called the amygdala, is your 24-hour security guard. It scans your reality, and its only job is to ask one question: is this a threat? The problem is, your security guard is ancient. It was programmed tens of thousands of years ago for a world where threats were simple and physical: a predator in the bushes, a rival tribe. In that world, a fast reaction was the only thing that kept you alive. There was no time for careful deliberation. There was only time for fight, flight, or freeze. So when that threat appears, the email from your boss, your amygdala pulls an alarm. It hijacks your rational mind. It doesn't know the difference between a critical email and a hungry tiger. To the amygdala, a perceived threat to your social standing, your financial security, or your ego is the same as a threat to your life. In less than a second, it floods your body with a cocktail of powerful chemicals. Adrenaline and cortisol pour into your bloodstream. Your heart begins to pound, forcing more blood to your muscles. Your breathing becomes shallow and rapid, maximizing oxygen for a physical confrontation that will never come. Your blood is drawn away from your digestive system and, most critically, from your prefrontal cortex, the part of your brain responsible for rational thought, planning, and impulse control. Think about that. The very moment you need your higher thinking brain the most, the moment you need to craft a careful, strategic response, your own biology shuts it down. You are now operating from your most primitive, reactive, and emotional self. You are no longer in control. The storm is in control. You snap at your partner. You send the angry, typo-filled reply. You stammer and freeze in the meeting. You have been hijacked by a system that is trying to save you from a tiger that exists only in your mind. This is the biological storm. But it is only half the equation. The other half is the psychological storm, the habits of thought that act as fuel for the biological fire. Your brain is a narrative engine. It does not just experience reality, it interprets it. It tells you a story about what is happening, and for most people, that story is a script for panic. The first psychological habit is called catastrophizing. This is the tendency to take one small negative event and follow its logic to the absolute worst possible conclusion. You make a small mistake on a report. Your immediate thought is not, "I will correct this." Your thought is, "My boss will see this. He will think I am incompetent. I am going to be fired. I will lose my home. My life is over." You have just turned a typo into a catastrophe, and your body reacts accordingly. The second habit is mind reading. This is the assumption that you know the negative intentions or thoughts of others. Someone gives you a brief, neutral look in the hallway. Your narrative engine immediately writes a script. They are judging me. They don't like me. They think I'm an imposter. You have no evidence for this, but you feel it as a fact. This invented social threat triggers the same biological panic as a real one. The third and perhaps most insidious habit is emotional reasoning. This is the belief that if I feel it, it must be true. You feel anxious, therefore there must be something to be anxious about. You feel like a failure, therefore you are a failure. Your feelings are no longer seen as signals to be investigated, they are seen as direct reflections of reality. You have become a slave to your own transient emotional weather. This combination, an outdated biological threat system and a set of flawed psychological habits, is the engine of the storm. This is what you are up against. Now, let's contrast the person caught in this storm with the person who is anchored. The reactive person enters a room, and their first priority is to scan. What do these people think of me? Am I safe? Am I in control? Their energy is frantic, brittle. They are seeking validation or preparing for a fight. They speak too quickly or not at all. They mistake defensiveness for strength. They are so busy managing the perception of control that they have none of the reality of it. Their internal state is a mirror, reflecting whatever is thrown at them. If the room is calm, they are calm. If the room is tense, they are the most tense person there. The anchored person enters a room, and their internal state is preset. It is set by them for them. Their priority is not to scan for threats, but to radiate presence. They are not a mirror. They are a source. They listen not just to wait for their turn to speak, but to actually understand. When they are challenged, they do not feel the biological hook of the amygdala hijack because they have trained themselves to recognize it. They feel the emotion rise, the flash of anger, the jolt of insecurity, and they do not act on it. They observe it. They create a space between the stimulus and their response, and in that space, they choose. This person is not a superhuman. They are not unfeeling. They are simply practicing a higher order of self-mastery. They have built their anchor. So why is this your goal? Why should you dedicate yourself to the difficult work of building this internal anchor? The answer is simple, because calm is the ultimate superpower. In a world of reactivity, calm is clarity. When everyone else is lost in the fog of their panic, blinded by their biases and fears, you will be the one who can see the situation as it truly is. You will be able to distinguish the signal from the noise. You will see the path forward that is invisible to everyone else. The greatest strategic disadvantage is a hijacked mind. The greatest advantage is a clear one. Calm is authority. We are drawn on a primal level to stability. We do not seek leadership from the most agitated person in the group. We do not trust the judgment of the person who is visibly unraveling. We trust the one who is steady, the person who can absorb pressure without breaking, who can hold the center while the edges fray. That is the person who commands respect. This authority is not given by a title or a position. It is earned by a non-negotiable command of self. Your composure is your credibility. And finally, calm is power. Not the loud, aggressive power of intimidation, but the deep, quiet power of control. The reactive person bleeds energy. They are exhausted by their own emotional fires, constantly fighting battles, both real and imagined. The calm person conserves energy. They do not waste it on pointless conflicts. They do not surrender it to people or events that do not deserve it. This makes their actions potent. When they choose to act, it is with precision, focus, and undeniable force. This is the power of choice. It is the power to decide who you will be, what you will feel, and how you will respond, regardless of the storm around you. This is the great divide in human experience: those who are controlled by the world and those who have chosen to control themselves. Most people live and die as slaves to their own biology. They are tossed on the waves of their own unexamined reactions. They are a problem to be solved, a fire to be put out. You are here listening to this because you have decided you will not be one of them. You have decided that you will no longer be a leaf in the wind. You will be the mountain. You will be the stone in the riverbed. You will be the anchor. To do this, you must first accept the reality of the storm. It will not get easier. The world will not get quieter. The demands on your attention will not lessen. The storm is a given. It is the one constant. The only variable is you. The only question that matters is what you will build inside yourself to withstand it. In this chapter, we have defined the battle. We have seen the storm in all its fury, and we have identified the enemy. Not the world outside, but the reactive, outdated machinery within. We have set our sights on the goal. Not a life free from trouble, but a self that is greater than any trouble. The work begins now. We cannot build an anchor out of theory. We must forge it. We must build it with practical, deliberate action. We start by acknowledging a simple truth. You cannot command your mind until you have first learned to command your body. You cannot build a psychological fortress on a foundation of physiological chaos. The first step in becoming the anchor is to stop being the storm. Chapter 2. The Architect of the Internal World. My boss made me angry. This traffic is stressing me out. That comment ruined my entire day. Listen to the language we use. It is the language of the victim. It is the language of helplessness. It is a script where we are the passive object and the world is the active subject, doing things to us. We describe our emotional lives as if we are not even present for them, as if we are a house empty and unlocked that anyone or any event can simply walk into and vandalize. This is the great comforting lie of human existence, that we are not responsible for our internal state. We tell ourselves this lie because it is comfortable. It allows us to be the victim, and being a victim is easy. It requires no work. It requires no accountability. If the world is responsible for your feelings, then you have no power, but you also have no responsibility. You can be angry, anxious, or defeated, and you have the perfect excuse. The world did it to you. This chapter is a declaration of war on that lie. It is the end of that abdication. The truth is this: you are not the empty house. You are the architect, the designer, the builder, and the sole gatekeeper of your internal world. Nothing and no one enters that space without your consent. This is the most terrifying and the most liberating truth of your existence. It is terrifying because it means you have nowhere to hide. You can never again blame a person or a circumstance for your lack of composure. The responsibility is yours, and it is total. It is liberating because it means you have all the power. If you are the builder, you can build whatever you want. You can design a mind that is a fortress, a mind that is a sanctuary, a mind that is an engine for clarity. If you built the internal state you currently have, a state of reactivity, anxiety, and stress, it is only because you built it unconsciously, using a faulty blueprint given to you by default. Today, we seize the tools. We become conscious architects. The foundation of this entire process rests on one critical distinction. It is the most important rule you will ever learn in the pursuit of self-mastery. It is this: you are not responsible for your first thought. You are 100% responsible for your first reaction. Let us dissect this. The first thought is the automatic biochemical flash of association. It is the brain's primitive pattern-matching machine at work. When someone cuts you off in traffic, the first thought that flashes is idiot. When you get a critical email, the first thought is this is a threat. When you walk into a room of strangers, the first thought is they are judging me. You cannot stop this. This is not a failure of your character. This is the amygdala we discussed in Chapter 1, doing its job. It is the echo of a million years of evolution, of past traumas, of social conditioning. These first thoughts are like the weather. You do not control the rain. You are not responsible for the fact that it is raining. The first reaction is what you do about the rain. Do you stand in the downpour, shouting at the sky, complaining about being wet? Do you let the rain soak you to the bone, ruin your day, and give you a cold? This is the reactive person. They fuse with the first thought. They become the anger. They become the anxiety. They believe the first thought is an order, not an observation. Or do you acknowledge the rain and put on a coat? Do you build a shelter? Do you use the water to nourish your crops? The calm person, the architect, is not someone who has fewer negative first thoughts. They may have more. The calm person is simply someone who has mastered the art of separating themselves from that first thought. They have built a roof. They feel the flash of anger, and they think, anger is present. They feel the jolt of anxiety, and they think, interesting, the body is signaling a threat. They observe the thought. They do not obey it. This is the creation of a new identity. You are not your thoughts. You are not your emotions. You are the observer of your thoughts. You are the architect of your response to your emotions. This is the fundamental shift from victim to creator. So, how do we begin? An architect cannot build a stable structure on a foundation they have not studied. You cannot build a new internal world until you have the exact blueprints of your current one. This brings us to your first task as architect. You must map your emotional landscape. For the next 7 days, you are going to become a detective of your own mind. You are going to perform an emotional audit. You can use a small notebook or a notes app on your phone. Your goal is to identify your hidden triggers. Most people believe their triggers are the events themselves, the traffic, the difficult coworker, the spouse's comment. They are wrong. The event is just the switch. The trigger is the high-voltage wire that the switch is connected to, buried deep inside your belief system. For 1 week, every time you feel a significant negative emotional response, anger, irritation, deep anxiety, defensiveness, you will stop and you will write down 3 things. 1. The event. This is the objective fact. Be a reporter. A coworker interrupted me mid-sentence during a meeting. Not my coworker disrespected me, but the fact of what happened. 2. The feeling. The specific primary emotion. Anger, shame, fear. Be precise. 3. The story. This is the most important part. You must write down the exact thought, the story you told yourself in the fraction of a second between the event and the feeling. Let's use our example. Event. Coworker interrupted me. Feeling. Intense anger, humiliation. Story. He thinks I am incompetent. He doesn't respect me. Everyone in that room now thinks I'm a fool. I am invisible. This is the work. The work is not in stopping the coworker from interrupting. That is the old, powerless way of thinking, trying to control the world. The real work is in dismantling that story. Do this for 7 days, and you will be stunned by what you find. You will find that you don't have 1,000 triggers. You have 3 or 4, and they repeat themselves over and over. You will discover your emotional landmines. Perhaps your core trigger is a story about disrespect. Anytime an event happens that you can interpret as disrespect, you explode. Perhaps your core trigger is a story about incompetence. The moment you feel you might not know an answer, you are flooded with shame and become defensive. Perhaps your core trigger is a story about abandonment or being invisible. When someone doesn't text you back, your mind doesn't think they are busy. It thinks, I am being abandoned. I don't matter. These are the weak points in your foundation. These are the areas where your subconscious architect built with cheap materials. This map is the most valuable document you will ever own. It shows you exactly where the work needs to be done. Once you have this map, the construction phase begins. This is the process of proactive design, not reactive defense. You know your triggers. You know that your coworker, Bob, has a habit of interrupting. You know that this connects to your I am invisible landmine. The old reactive you would simply walk into that meeting hoping, I hope Bob doesn't interrupt me. You are a victim of hope. The new you, the architect, pre-decides the response. You sit down tonight and you design your internal state for the meeting tomorrow. You know the first thought will come. The story, he's making me invisible, will fire. But you have already built a new pathway. You have created a new response. When Bob interrupts, I will feel the old anger. I will observe it. I will let it pass. It is not an order. It is an echo. Then I will take a silent, calm breath. I will hold my ground, look at him, and say, "One moment, Bob. I'd like to finish my point." Or perhaps I will let him speak, and when he is finished, I will calmly say, as I was saying. I will not be rattled. His poor manners are a reflection of him, not a verdict on me. You have just taken the power back. You have built a new piece of architecture. The first time you do this, it will feel artificial. The second time, it will be hard. By the 10th time, it will be the new default. You will have literally rewired your brain, building a new neural pathway, a new highway for your response, making the old dirt track of reactivity obsolete. This is the work of building. Now, let's talk about the work of defending. Your internal world is a sovereign space. You are its gatekeeper. This does not mean you build high, thick walls to keep everyone out. That is suppression, and it is a prison. A fortress that lets nothing in is useless. Instead, you build a gate and you post a guard. The guard is your conscious awareness. The gate is your power of choice. When a piece of information arrives at your gate, a critical comment, a piece of bad news, an insult, it is stopped by the guard. The guard, your consciousness, does not let it just storm into your city and start a fire. The guard stops the event and asks a few simple questions. Is this true? Is this useful? Does this opinion matter to me? Does this align with my values and my goals? Let's say someone in your life calls you a failure. The reactive person, the empty house, lets that statement in. It becomes a piece of furniture. They live with it. They let it define them. The architect, the gatekeeper, stops that statement at the gate. The guard asks, is this true? The answer is no. I am a person who has failed, but I am not a failure. The label is a lie. The guard asks, is this useful? The answer is no. It is a destructive, emotionally charged statement. There is no useful data here. The guard asks, does this person's uncalibrated opinion matter to my plan? The answer is no. The guard turns the statement away. It is not allowed into your internal world. You observe it, you label it, and you let it go. That is his anger, you note. That is his story. It is not my reality. This is not a metaphor. This is a real cognitive process that you can run in real time. It is the active, minute-by-minute defense of your own mind. You decide what is allowed to take root in your soil. You decide what you will water and what you will let die in the sun. This is what it means to be the architect. You are no longer a passive recipient of life. You are an active creator. Your emotional state is no longer a consequence of your day. It is a decision you make before your day even begins. This is the ultimate accountability. It is the end of all excuses. You can no longer blame your past, your boss, your partner, or your genetics. Your internal world is your masterpiece. It is your single greatest creation. And it is the only thing in this life over which you have complete, total, and non-negotiable control. The work is not easy. The work of the architect is the hardest work there is. It requires constant vigilance. It requires you to inspect your own foundations every single day, to look for cracks, to reinforce weak spots. It requires you to be brutally honest with yourself, to take ownership of your own flaws and the faulty stories you have told yourself for years. But the reward is a power that few people will ever know. It is the power to be your own source, to generate your own calm, your own validation, and your own strength, independent of any external praise or pressure. In the last chapter, we identified the storm. In this chapter, we have claimed our role as the architect. We have laid the new foundation. We have accepted that our internal world is our responsibility. But a blueprint is not a building. A design is not a fortress. To make this architecture real, we must connect the mind to the body. We must master the physical machine that executes the commands of the architect. We have designed the software of our calm. Now we must learn to operate the hardware. Chapter 3: Forging the Physical Fortress. You have made the decision. You have drawn the blueprint as the architect. You have told yourself, this time I will not be reactive. I will be calm. And then the moment arrives. The pressure is on. The confrontation begins. And your body, that great lumbering traitor, betrays you. Your heart does not ask for permission. It simply begins to hammer against your ribs, a frantic drumbeat of panic. Your stomach floods with acid. Your hands, the very hands you need to be steady, begin to shake. A cold sweat breaks out on your forehead. You try to speak, and your voice is a thin, reedy thing, all the power choked out of it by the tension in your throat. You have just lost the war. And you lost it before your mind even had a chance to fight. You cannot think your way into a state of calm when your entire physiology is screaming that you are in mortal danger. This is the single greatest mistake people make. They treat calmness as a purely mental exercise, as a matter of willpower. They try to build a psychological fortress, as we discussed, but they build it on quicksand, on a body that is in a permanent, low-grade state of panic. This ends today. In this chapter, we move from the abstract to the mechanical. We are going to treat the human body as the most sophisticated piece of technology you will ever own, and we are going to read the instruction manual. We are going to forge the physical fortress. The truth is, your mind and body are in a constant high-speed conversation. This is the biofeedback loop. It is a simple, terrifying circle. It begins when your brain perceives a threat. And remember, that threat can be a simple negative thought. Your brain sends a signal to the body, prepare for action. The body obediently shifts gears. The sympathetic nervous system, your internal gas pedal, is slammed to the floor. The adrenal glands respond, and the heart rate kicks up. Your brain feels this. The cognitive, thinking part of your brain observes your heart racing. It observes your shallow breathing, and it concludes, this must be a really big threat. My body is panicking. This thought confirms the danger, and the brain sends another, more frantic signal to the body. It's even worse than I thought, full alert. The body ramps up further, the heart pounds harder, the muscles clench. The brain feels this too. And so the spiral continues, faster and faster, until you are a shaking, unfocused, hijacked mess. This is the engine of a panic attack. This is the spiral of anxiety. The loop becomes a whirlpool that drags you under. How do you stop it? You do not stop it by thinking. You cannot reason with a system that is already in full-blown panic. You stop it by interrupting the loop. You must physically break the circuit. You must seize one part of the loop and manually override it. You are going to send a signal from the body back to the brain. A signal that says, "False alarm, we are safe. Stand down." If you can do this, the brain will obey. If it feels the heart rate slow down, if it feels the breath deepen, if it feels the muscles unlock, the cognitive part of the brain will conclude, "Oh, the danger must have passed. I can turn the rational mind back on." This is how you get your higher self back online. You are going to use your body to command your mind. Our primary tool for this is the autonomic nervous system. This system has two settings: the sympathetic, the gas pedal for fight or flight, and the parasympathetic, the brake for rest and digest. The reactive person lives with their foot jammed on the gas pedal. Their engine is always screaming. They are burning fuel, wearing out their own machinery for no reason. The calm person has their foot lightly, consciously on the brake. Your parasympathetic brake system is governed by one massive, powerful nerve that winds its way from your brain down through your entire torso, touching your heart, your lungs, and your digestive tract. This is the vagus nerve. This is your calm down wire. When this nerve is activated, it is the biological equivalent of a system-wide stand-down order. It slows the heart. It deepens the breath. It tells your entire being that you are safe. You cannot, however, just tell your vagus nerve to fire. You must trigger it. And luckily, you have a direct, conscious control panel connected to this system. It is the one autonomic function you can instantly and completely control: your breathing. The breath is the gear shift for your nervous system. Let's be clear, when most people say, "Take a deep breath," they are giving terrible advice. In a moment of panic, that deep breath is usually a fast, shallow, vertical gasp high into the chest. This mimics the breathing of panic. It is hyperventilation. It only makes the loop worse. We are going to use two specific physiological tools. These are not mental tricks. These are mechanical interventions. The first tool is your emergency brake. This is for the instant you feel that first jolt of panic. This is the physiological sigh. This technique, studied by neuroscience labs at Stanford and elsewhere, is the fastest known voluntary way to pull your body's brake and calm the nervous system. It is what your body does naturally, what a child does just as they stop sobbing, or what you do when you are about to fall asleep. We are just going to do it consciously. It is very simple. It consists of 2 inhales followed by 1 long exhale. You will inhale sharply through your nose. Then, without exhaling, you will stack a second, shorter inhale on top of it. So, this double inhale is critical. Your lungs are made of millions of tiny air sacs called alveoli. When you are stressed, many of these tiny sacs collapse. This is why your breathing feels shallow. That second inhale forces them to pop back open, allowing for the maximum, most efficient exchange of oxygen. Then you will exhale. A long, slow, complete exhale through your mouth. Make this exhale longer than the inhales combined. That's it. 2 quick inhales through the nose, 1 long, slow exhale through the mouth. Do this once or twice in the moment you feel the panic rising. Here is what happens inside your body. The double inhale floods your system with oxygen. The long exhale activates the vagus nerve. As your diaphragm pushes that air out, it physically slows your heart rate. It is a direct, mechanical intervention. You have just sent the all-clear signal to your brain. You have broken the feedback loop. This is your emergency brake. This is the tool you use in the middle of the fire. The second tool is not an emergency brake. It is your system regulator. This is what you use to maintain a state of calm. This is box breathing. This is a technique used by Navy SEALs, by elite athletes, by surgeons, by anyone who must perform high-level tasks under extreme pressure. It is used not to stop panic, but to prevent it from ever starting. It is called box breathing because it has 4 equal sides. You will inhale through your nose for a slow count of 4. You will hold your breath for a count of 4. You will exhale through your mouth for a count of 4. You will hold the exhale for a count of 4. And you repeat the cycle. Inhale, 4. Hold, 4. Exhale, 4. Hold, 4. Why does this work so perfectly? First, it imposes order on a chaotic system. Panic is erratic. The box is rhythmic. It is predictable. It is controlled. Your body has no choice but to follow this calm, steady rhythm. Second, it gives your rational mind a job. Instead of allowing your mind to spin stories of catastrophe, you have given it a simple, non-emotional task. Count to 4. Again, again, again. This anchors your mind. It keeps it busy, preventing it from pouring fuel on the biological fire. Third, it perfectly balances the oxygen and carbon dioxide in your blood, preventing the hyperventilation that causes the dizziness and fogginess of panic. You use this tool before the stressful event. You do this for 2 minutes in your car before you walk into the negotiation. You do this for 1 minute at your desk before you take the difficult phone call. You use this after the event to reset your system to baseline. These 2 techniques, the physiological sigh and box breathing, are the foundation of your physical fortress. Master them. Practice them when you are not stressed. Practice in line at the coffee shop. Practice when a commercial comes on. You must forge the weapon before you need it in battle. Now, let's add the armor. Your breath is the engine, but your posture and muscle tension are the chassis. Your brain is constantly reading your body's shape to understand how it should feel. Think about the posture of defeat. It is universal. The shoulders are rounded, caved in. The head is down. The chest is concave. This is a posture of submission, of protection. When you sit like this, you are sending a clear, unavoidable signal to your brain. We are defeated. We are weak. Be afraid. Even if you are trying to think confident thoughts, your body is betraying you. You are embodying anxiety. Now, think of the posture of a calm, confident person. The spine is long. The shoulders are back and down. The chest is open. The chin is level. This is not an aggressive posture. It is an open, grounded posture. It signals to the brain, I am solid. I am not under threat. I am present. You can immediately change your emotional state by changing your physical state. Right now, as you are listening, pull your shoulders back, elongate your spine, lift your chin, open your chest. Take a slow breath into this new open space. You have just changed the biofeedback. This is not faking it till you make it. This is initiating it to create it. You are using your physical self to lead your mental self. Before you walk into any room, you will set your posture. This is your armor. It makes you feel solid, and it projects that solidity to everyone else. Finally, we must address the tension. Where do you hold your stress? For most people, it's in the jaw. For others, the shoulders, which creep up toward the ears, or the fists, or the stomach. This chronic, low-level muscle clenching is part of the feedback loop. It constantly tells your brain that you are braced for an impact. You must learn to release this tension, but you cannot just will a muscle to relax. A tensed-up muscle is a locked door. The secret is that you have the key. The key is progressive muscle relaxation. You are going to increase the tension before you release it. As you sit here, scan your body. Find a point of tension. Let's say it is your shoulders. Now, actively increase that tension. Pull your shoulders up toward your ears as hard as you can. Clench them. Hold it for a count of 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and release. Let them drop. The feeling of release, the blood rushing back in, the absence of tension, that is true relaxation. You have to clench to understand what it means to unclench. Do this with your fists. Clench them into tight balls. Hold and release. Do this with your jaw. Clench it shut. Hold and release. This is a conscious inventory and release of the physical burden of stress. It is a manual override. Your body is not your enemy. It is your most direct, powerful, and obedient instrument if you will only learn how to play it. We have built the fortress. The breath is the gate, allowing you to control what comes in and out. The posture is the wall, projecting strength and creating space. The muscle release is the sentry, walking the perimeter and eliminating any intruders. This is the physical foundation. From this, we can now build the psychological skills that last. You have proven to your mind that you are in control. You have earned your own trust back. You have stopped the spiral. You have broken the loop. You have used your body to tell your mind, I am in command. We have secured the hardware. Now we must move to the next step. We must train the mind that looks out from this new, stable fortress. We must change what we see. Chapter 4. The View from the Balcony. There is a moment, a single critical moment. It is the fraction of a second after the insult has been delivered, but before your anger has formed into words. It is the sliver of time after you receive the bad news, but before the wave of panic has crested and broken. It is the space after the chaotic, high-stakes event has begun, but before you have surrendered to the hijack. In this moment, this precious, razor-thin moment, your entire destiny is decided. In this moment, the reactive person and the anchored person are separated. The reactive person fuses with this moment. There is no space. There is no thought. The stimulus and the response are a single, unified, uncontrollable explosion. The insult is the anger. The bad news is the panic. The event is the reaction. They are no longer a person. They are a reflex. They have been hooked. They are on the stage, lost in the drama, a puppet acting out a script they did not write. The calm person does something else. In that same fraction of a second, they do not fuse. They separate. They create space. They do not just react. They observe. They step back, they step up, and they achieve a different perspective. They are no longer the actor lost in the scene. They are the audience watching the play. They have moved from the stage to the balcony. This is the observer self, and it is the key to unlocking true composure. This chapter is a manual for that movement. It is the practical, step-by-step instruction for building this balcony in your mind, a place of psychological detachment and strategic clarity from which you can observe the chaos without being consumed by it. Let's define our terms. The stage is your immediate, raw, emotional experience. It is the battlefield. On the stage, everything is life and death. You are entangled, fused with your thoughts and feelings. When you are on the stage, your feelings are reality. The first thought we spoke of earlier, the "he thinks I'm an idiot," is not a thought, it is truth. The physical panic we forged in the last chapter is not a symptom, it is proof that the danger is real. The stage is where the amygdala is the king. It is a place of pure reaction. The balcony is the domain of your higher self. It is the architect's office. It is the fortress watchtower. It is the psychological high ground. From the balcony, you are detached from the immediate drama, but you are not disengaged. This is a critical distinction. This is not the apathy of checking out. It is the strategic clarity of zooming out. From the balcony, you see the entire stage. You see the other actors and their motivations. You see the script that is playing out. And most importantly, you see yourself down on the stage, as just one character in the play. You see your anger rise. You see your hands begin to tremble. You see your ego preparing a defensive, cutting remark. But because you are on the balcony, you are no longer identical to those things. You are the witness to them. And in that moment of witness, you have found the space. You have found the buffer. And in that buffer, you find your power. You find choice. The person who is fused on the stage has no choice. They are a prisoner of the script. The person on the balcony is the only free person in the room. They can see the script, and they can decide to rewrite it. This sounds like a high-level concept. It is not. It is a practical, trainable skill, just like the breathing techniques we mastered. You can learn to do this in the middle of a fire. So, how do we get there? How you, in the middle of a high-pressure confrontation, ascend from the stage to the balcony. It is a three-step process. Step 1, recognize the hook. Step 2, name the emotion. Step 3, use the ascent. Let's break them down. Step 1, recognize the hook. The hook is the moment of fusion. It is that biological, physical jolt that we have studied. It is the signal that the hijack has begun. This is why our work in the last chapter was so essential. You now have the training to recognize this. You can feel your heart kick. You can feel the heat in your face. You can feel the tension in your jaw. In your old life, this jolt was the beginning of the spiral. It was the signal to panic. In your new life, this jolt is your alarm bell. It is your cue. It is your mind's internal notification system pinging you with a simple, clear message. You have been hooked. The drama is starting. Ascend to the balcony. You are going to thank this feeling. The jolt of adrenaline is no longer your enemy. It is your ally. It is the signal to begin your practice. You cannot get to the balcony if you don't first realize you are on the stage. This physical hook is your invitation. Step 2, name the emotion. This is the cognitive shift. This is the moment you create the first crack of separation. The instant you have recognized the hook, your next move is to mentally label what is happening. It must be simple, non-judgmental, and fast. As the anger flashes, your internal monologue, your observer self, simply says, "This is anger." As the anxiety tightens your chest, you say, "This is fear." As the humiliation burns, you say, "This is shame." This tiny, simple act is revolutionary. It is the most powerful cognitive tool you possess. Think about the difference in the language. The person on the stage, the reactive person, thinks, "I am angry." They have fused. The person and the emotion are one. The person on the balcony, the observer, thinks, "This is anger," or "I am experiencing the sensation of anger." Do you see the difference? You are no longer the thing. You are the observer of the thing. You are the consciousness that is aware of the anger. The one who names the emotion cannot be the emotion. In the very act of labeling it, you have created two distinct entities, you and the feeling. You have just created the space. You have stepped outside of the raw feeling and become its witness. You have, in this moment, laid the first foundation of the balcony. This act of labeling is not an analysis. You are not asking why you are angry. You are not judging yourself for being angry. You are not getting lost in the story. You are simply, with the cold, clear precision of a scientist, labeling the specimen. Ah, anger. How fascinating. You have recognized the hook. You have named the emotion. You have created the psychological space. Now you must physically secure that space. Step 3. Use the ascent. The ascent is where you connect the mind to the body. You are going to use the physical tools from Chapter 3 as the elevator to the balcony. The hook has been felt. The emotion has been named. Now you execute a physical interrupt. This is the moment for your physiological sigh. Inhale, inhale, long exhale. Or it is the moment for one single deliberate box breath cycle. In, 4, hold, 4, out, 4, hold, 4. This physical act is the ascent. This is you moving into the space you just created. This breath is not just for oxygen. It is a physical declaration of control. It is a deliberate pause. It is a circuit breaker. In that 4-second hold, in that long exhale, you are literally living in the buffer between stimulus and response. You have given your hijacked amygdala a moment to go offline. You have given the blood a moment to flow back to your rational prefrontal cortex. You have climbed the stairs. You are now on the balcony. This entire 3-step process, hook, name, ascent, does not take 30 seconds. With practice, it takes 1 second. The insult comes. Hook, jolt of heat. Name, that is defensiveness. Ascent, one slow, quiet exhale through the nose. And you are there. You are on the balcony. You are looking down at the stage. The drama is paused. You are in control. So, what do you do now? What is the point of this view? The view from the balcony is not for passive observation. It is for strategic observation. The first thing you do is look at yourself on the stage. You see your own actor. You see your default script. You see your ego puffed up and ready to fight. And you can now see it for what it is, a small, frightened part of you trying to protect itself. From the balcony, you can have compassion for this part of yourself, but you are not led by it. You can choose to ignore its lines. The second thing you do is look at the other actors. When you were on the stage with them, they were a monolithic threat. Their words were an attack. Their anger was a weapon. From the balcony, you see them with a new, profound clarity. You are no longer just hearing their words. You are observing their entire performance. And you begin to see the real story. You see that the aggressive, attacking person is in fact terrified. Their aggression is a mask. You can see the fear in their eyes, the tension in their shoulders. You see that the person delivering the insult is not acting from a place of confidence, but from a place of deep insecurity. Their need to tear you down is a reflection of their own internal state. You see, quite simply, that their reaction is their script. It has nothing to do with you. It is their storm. When you are on the stage, you are in the storm. When you are on the balcony, you can watch it, and you can decide not to let the rain touch you. This is the end of taking things personally. This clarity is the ultimate strategic advantage. The person on the stage is playing checkers, and they are playing it badly. The person on the balcony is playing chess. You can see the whole board. You can see the opponent's likely next move. You can see the traps. And you can see the winning path. From this high ground, you can finally choose your response. You have an entire menu of options that the stage-bound person does not. You can choose silence, as we will discuss later. You can choose a calm, clarifying question. What is it you are truly concerned about here? You can choose to set a boundary, firmly and without emotion. I am not willing to be spoken to that way. We can continue when you are calm. You can choose to empathize with the real emotion you see. I can see you are incredibly frustrated by this situation. These options are invisible from the stage. From the stage, the only option is to fight or to flee. From the balcony, you have 1,000 options. You have reclaimed your full intelligence. This is the power of the observer self. This is the view from the balcony. It is not a place of cold, unfeeling distance. It is a place of ultimate strength. It is the watchtower of the fortress you have been building. It is the control room. To be the calmest person in the room, you do not need to eliminate your emotions. You do not need to silence your thoughts. You just need to stop identifying with them. You must break the fusion. You are not the storm. You are not the waves. You are not even the actor tossed about on the stage. You are the anchor. You are the architect. And from now on, you are the observer. You are the one on the balcony. Chapter 5. Rewiring the Narrative Engine. You can master your body. You can ascend to the balcony. You can create a perfect, calm, beautiful space between stimulus and response. And in that space, you can still lose. You can lose because the one thing you bring with you to the balcony is your own mind. And your mind is, by default, a narrative engine. It is a storyteller. It is a machine designed to do one thing and one thing only: create meaning. The moment an event happens, before you are even consciously aware of it, that engine roars to life. It sifts through your entire past, your memories, your beliefs, your biases, your traumas, and it constructs a story. This story is your reality. As we discussed in Chapter 2, the event itself is neutral. The story is what gives it power. The story is what determines whether you feel anger, or peace, or fear, or indifference. The reactive person's engine is a terrible, untrained, and paranoid storyteller. It is a hack. It writes cheap horror stories. It defaults to the worst, most painful, and most disempowering narrative possible. The event. A coworker gives you a short, one-word answer. The story. He's mad at me. I did something wrong. He's figured out I'm an imposter. I'm going to be isolated. This is a catastrophe. The event. Your partner is quiet during dinner. The story. She's losing interest. It's my fault. I'm not good enough. She's going to leave me. I'm going to be alone. The event. You are not chosen for a new project. The story. They see my incompetence. I've hit my ceiling. I'm a failure. My career is over. These are not rational assessments. These are automatic, self-destructive fictions. But your body, in its absolute loyalty, does not know the difference. When your mind tells a story of catastrophe, your body responds with a flood of cortisol and adrenaline. The story becomes a physical reality. You have just authored your own panic. You cannot stop this engine. You cannot turn it off. It is the very nature of human consciousness. But you can seize it. You, as the architect, as the observer on the balcony, must step into the role of the master editor. You must learn to catch the first draft of the story, the panic script, and, with a cold, clear, and confident pen, rewrite it in real time. This is not about positive thinking. Positive thinking is weak. It is the act of trying to paste a happy sticker over a gaping wound. It is trying to tell yourself everything is wonderful, when it is clearly not. This is a form of delusion, and your mind will reject it. This is not about positive thinking. This is about accurate thinking. It is about useful thinking. It is about strategic thinking. This is cognitive reframing. And it is the most advanced software update you will ever run on your own mind. We are going to install 3 core programs into your narrative engine. These are the new default settings. The interrogator, the tool for dismantling false stories. The reframer, the tool for finding the useful alternative. The preframer, the tool for writing the story before the event. The interrogator. Let's begin with the first. You are on the balcony. You have recognized the hook. This is fear. You have taken a breath. Now the story is playing in your head. I'm going to be fired. My life is over. This is when you deploy the interrogator. The interrogator is your internal lawyer. It is the cold, dispassionate, rational part of your mind that, instead of accepting the story, puts it on trial. It cross-examines the thought. The interrogator asks 4 simple questions. Question 1. Is this story 100% true? The first thought is, yes, of course it is. It feels true. But the interrogator is ruthless. Is it 100% true beyond all shadow of a doubt? Is it an objective fact that you are going to be fired, or is it a feeling? The answer almost always will be, no, I cannot know that it is 100% true. You have just created the first hairline fracture in the story's power. Question 2. What is the evidence for this story? Your panicked mind will scramble. The evidence is that my boss looked at me strangely in the meeting. The interrogator scoffs. That is your evidence? A look? What is the evidence against this story? The evidence is that you have completed all your work successfully for the past year. The evidence is that you received a positive review 6 weeks ago. The evidence is that your boss is also dealing with immense pressure from his boss. You are now actively weakening the foundation of the panic script. Question 3. What does this story cost me? This is the pivotal question. You are forcing your brain to see the consequence of its own narrative. This story, this narrative of "I'm a failure," what is it costing me? Right now, it is costing me my ability to focus. It is costing me my peace of mind. It is costing me my physical health. I can feel my heart pounding. It is costing me my relationships because I will go home tonight and be irritable and distant. If I believe this story, I will act like a failure. I will be defensive and anxious, and I will create the very outcome I am afraid of. This is the moment your brain realizes that its own story is a poison. Question 4. What is a different story that is also true? This is not what is a happy story. This is what is a different, plausible narrative. Story A. My boss thinks I'm an idiot. Story B. My boss is having a stressful day, and his short reply had nothing to do with me. Story C. My boss is busy and values concise communication, and I am projecting my own insecurities onto a neutral interaction. Which story is more useful? Which story allows you to remain calm, focused, and professional? Which story moves you toward your goals rather than away from them? You have just taken the catastrophic script, cross-examined it, proven it to be a lie, assessed its damages, and replaced it with a more accurate, more useful narrative. You have done this in 30 seconds. You have done this from the balcony. This is the interrogator. It is your defensive weapon. The reframer. Now we need an offensive weapon. We don't just want to dismantle bad stories, we want to create powerful ones. This is the reframer. The reframer is the master alchemist. It is the part of your mind that can take any event, no matter how negative, and find the utility in it. It does not change the facts of the event, but it changes the meaning. The core principle of the reframer is this: life does not happen to you. It happens for you. This is not a blind, optimistic belief. It is a strategic, operational choice. It is the decision to view every single event in your life as a form of training. Every challenge, every setback, every failure is simply the universe providing you with a perfectly tailored curriculum to make you stronger, faster, and more resilient. Let's put the reframer to work. The event. You fail. You launch the project and it fails. The reactive narrative is, I am a failure. The reframer steps in. This is not a failure. This is tuition. This is a $10,000 lesson in what doesn't work. I have just paid for an education. I have just discovered a flaw in the system that my competitors have not found. This failure is, in fact, a piece of market research that makes my next attempt 100 times more likely to succeed. This is not an ending. This is a refinement. This is leverage. The event. You are stuck in a massive traffic jam. The reactive narrative is, this is ruining my day. I'm helpless. This is a disaster. The reframer steps in. This is not a trap. This is a gift. The universe has just given me 30 minutes of pure, uninterrupted time. I cannot move. I have no other obligations. This is an opportunity. I can listen to this audiobook chapter twice. I can practice my box breathing. I can sit in silence and simply be. This is not a delay. This is a pause. The event. Someone is attacking you, criticizing you. The reactive narrative is, this is a threat. I must defend my ego. The reframer steps in. This is not an attack. This is sparring. This person is testing my systems. They are my trainer. They are showing me, for free, exactly where my balcony is weak. They are giving me a live-fire opportunity to practice my emotional detachment. I should be thanking them. How strong can I be? Let's find out. Do you feel the shift? The facts did not change. The traffic is still there. The failure still happened. The criticism was still spoken. But the meaning, and therefore your entire emotional and physiological response, has been transformed. You have taken the raw, jagged rock of circumstance and, by changing the story, you have turned it into a diamond. You are no longer a victim of your life. You are the alchemist of it. The pre-framer. This is the active, real-time work of the master editor. You are rewriting the script as the movie plays. But the final, most advanced skill is not to rewrite the story during the scene. It is to write the script before the scene even begins. This is the pre-framer. The pre-framer is the ultimate act of the architect. It is you sitting down in the quiet of the morning and deciding the story of the day before it happens. You know the difficult meeting is at 10 a.m. You know your trigger points. The reactive person walks into this meeting with hope as their only strategy. I hope it goes well. I hope I don't get angry. Hope is not a strategy. It is a surrender. The architect, the pre-framer, writes the story in advance. You sit for 2 minutes and you visualize the scene. But you do not just visualize success. You visualize the challenge. Your pre-frame sounds like this. At 10 a.m., I will walk into that room and I will be centered. My coworker will try to provoke me. That is a fact. When he does, I will feel the hook of my old anger. And I will welcome that feeling because it is the cue to ascend to my balcony. I will take one slow breath. I will see his agitation for what it is, his fear, not my reality. I will not be hooked. I will not be moved. I will be the anchor. I will listen, I will wait, and I will respond only with the calm, strategic points I have prepared. I will use his chaotic energy to highlight my own composure. You have just written the script. You have preloaded the software. You have run the simulation. When the 10 a.m. meeting happens, you are not reacting. You are executing a predetermined plan. The event is simply unfolding along the lines you have already drawn. Your mind has already lived it, and it has already won. This is how you rewire the engine. You stop being a passive consumer of your mind's paranoid stories, and you become the author of your own powerful, strategic, and calm reality. The interrogator, the reframer, the pre-framer. These are your tools of mastery. Your mind will always be a storyteller. The question is, who is holding the pen? Chapter 6. The Strategy of Silence. The modern world is a conspiracy against stillness. It is an overwhelming, non-stop assault of noise. Not just the physical noise of traffic and sirens, but the digital noise of notifications, the social noise of constant opinions, and the professional noise of endless, urgent demands. We are living in an age of maximum volume. In this chaos, we have been conditioned to believe that power is loud, that influence is verbal, that the winner is the one who speaks last, speaks fastest, or speaks with the most force. We fill every available space with chatter because we have been taught, unconsciously, that silence is a vacuum, that silence is weakness, that silence is a failure, a sign that we are empty, unprepared, or have lost the upper hand. This is a profound and damaging lie. In any room, the person who is truly in command is not the one who is making the most noise. It is the one who is most comfortable with the absence of noise. This chapter is about the single most misunderstood, underrated, and powerful tool in your entire arsenal of composure. We are not here to discuss passivity. We are here to discuss strategy. We are here to learn how to wield the void. This is the strategy of silence. Silence, in the hands of a master, is not an absence. It is a presence. It is a deliberate, active, and often offensive choice. It is a shield, a lever, and a spotlight. The reactive person is a slave to noise. They are terrified of the pause. They rush to fill every gap, desperate to ease the tension, to defend their ego, to prove their worth. The anchored person owns the gap. They live in it. They use it. They understand that in a world of frantic reaction, the person who controls the silence controls the entire dynamic. We will now dissect silence as a practical tool, moving from its defensive power to its offensive power, and finally to its most crucial role, the source of your internal stability. The defensive power, silence as a shield. Let us begin with the most common scenario, the hook. You are in a conversation, a meeting, a confrontation. Someone throws a grenade at you. It might be a direct insult, a passive-aggressive joke, a high-pressure question you weren't expecting, or a bad-faith argument. The hook is that jolt of adrenaline, that immediate, visceral need to respond, to defend, to correct, to fight back. This is the moment we've trained for. The reactive person bites the hook every time. They snap back, they stammer, they get defensive, they try to answer too quickly. And in that speed, they lose. They show their hand. They reveal that they have been affected, that their internal state is now being controlled by the other person. The calm person deploys the disarming pause. The disarming pause is the act of receiving a stimulus, an attack, a question, any piece of high-stakes information, and meeting it not with a response, but with 2 or 3 seconds of deliberate, calm, unbroken silence. This sounds simple. It is the hardest and most powerful thing you will ever learn to do. Let's look at what is happening in those 3 seconds, both inside you and outside. Inside you, those 3 seconds are a lifeline. This is the practical, real-time application of the balcony. You are not just being quiet. You are using that silence as an ascent. In that gap, you are taking your physiological sigh. You are executing one cycle of your box breath. You are allowing the initial, chaotic flood of adrenaline to move past you rather than through you. You are giving the blood time to return to your prefrontal cortex. You are moving from reflex to choice. You are choosing your response rather than having it chosen for you by your own hijacked biology. But what happens outside of you is pure strategic magic. Your attacker has thrown energy at you. They are braced for the impact. They are expecting you to throw it back, to yell, to defend, to crumble. Instead, you give them nothing. You simply hold their gaze, calmly. Your face is neutral, perhaps slightly curious. You are the void. You are the unmovable object. The energy they threw hits you and it just disappears. This is profoundly unsettling for the aggressor. In that silence, their own mind, their own narrative engine begins to spin in panic. They are now the ones in a feedback loop. Their internal monologue screams, "Why aren't they answering? Did I go too far? Did they not understand? They're not even rattled. They think I'm a fool. They're not afraid of me. My attack failed." In your 3 seconds of silence, you have just transferred the entire burden of anxiety from your shoulders to theirs. You have made them the reactive one. What happens next is beautifully predictable. More often than not, the other person will crack. They will become desperate to fill the void you have created. They will rush in to break the silence. And they will do so by revealing themselves. They will clarify their attack, softening it. What I mean is, I just think. They will defend their own attack. I'm just trying to be honest. Or, best of all, they will answer their own question. You have won the exchange, and you have not said a single word. You have used silence as a shield. You have deflected the attack, maintained your composure, and gained critical intelligence, all by mastering the pause. The offensive power, silence as a lever. This moves silence from a defensive tool to a tool of active influence. You are not just using it to protect yourself. You are using it to move the interaction in the direction you choose. This is the lever. The most obvious application is in negotiation. This can be a high-stakes business deal or a simple discussion about where to go to dinner. The principle is the same. There is an iron law in negotiation. The person who is most comfortable with silence holds the power. The amateur makes their offer, and when they are met with silence, they panic. They think the silence means no. They get nervous. So they immediately start to talk again. They concede ground just to break the tension. I can do it for $10,000. Silence. But, for you, I could probably do it for $9,000, and I could throw in the extra service. They just bid against themselves, all because they feared a few seconds of quiet. The master, the anchored person, understands this. They make their offer. The price is $10,000. And then they stop talking. They deploy the silence. They hand the pressure, the anxiety, and the responsibility to speak to the other person. They sit, calm and expectant. They know that the next person who speaks loses. This is not just for money. It is for truth. Silence is a spotlight that you can aim. When you are in a conversation and you need a real answer, not a surface-level deflection, use silence as a lever. Ask a direct, powerful question. I need to know why this project is late. You will get a vague, pre-canned answer. Well, there were some logistical issues. The reactive person would then ask another question, digging, fighting. The calm person simply waits. They hold their gaze. If you are sitting there, quiet and poised, but your internal narrative engine is screaming, "He's an idiot! I hate him! I'm failing! I'm a fraud!" You cannot project a calm you do not possess. The final and most important strategy of silence is the one you turn upon yourself. You must build an internal sanctuary. Your mind, as we know, is a noise machine. It is a storyteller, and it never shuts up. This internal chatter is the source of all your reactivity. It is the fuel for the fire. You must learn to create moments of internal silence. This is not about sitting in a cave and meditating for 8 hours. This is about deploying practical 60-second reboots throughout your day. This is a conscious practice. Find a moment. It can be in your car before you walk into the house. It can be the 30 seconds before you join a video call. It can be in the elevator. And in that moment, you will practice not being the storyteller, but the observer. You will turn down the volume of your own narrative. This is not about clearing your mind. That is impossible. Thoughts will appear. The practice is to let them. The practice is to not engage. A thought appears. You forgot to send that email. Your internal response is not, "Oh my God, I'm a failure." Your internal response is silence. You simply observe the thought. A thought about an email has appeared, and you let it float by, like a cloud, unattached. Another thought appears. I'm anxious about the meeting. You observe it. A feeling of anxiety is present, and you let it be, without judgment, without engagement. You are practicing detachment from your own internal noise. Why is this so critical? When you live in a state of constant internal chatter, your baseline anxiety is at an 8 out of 10. You are already agitated. You are a pond that is already violently churning. When an external event happens, a real stressor, it only takes a tiny splash to make the whole thing overflow. When you practice internal silence, you are lowering your baseline. You are letting the water still. You are bringing yourself down to a 1 out of 10. Now you have capacity. When the external stressor arrives, you are not reacting from a place of existing panic. You are a deep, calm, still ocean. The event is just a single stone dropped into it. It makes a ripple, but it cannot shake you. It cannot hijack you. You have so much calm, quiet capacity that you can absorb the impact with ease. This is the ultimate source of your composure. Your external silence is only as strong as your internal silence. The reactive person is afraid of the external void because it forces them to sit with their own internal chaos. The anchored person seeks the external void because it is an extension of the peace they have cultivated within. Silence is not an empty space. It is the space where you choose. It is the space where you listen. It is the space where you command. The world will continue to scream. The world will demand that you react, that you add to the noise. Your power is to decline the invitation. Your power is to be the pause. Your power is to be the one who wields the void. Chapter 7. Steel in the face of fire. We have forged the fortress. We have mastered the internal world. You have learned to command your body, to ascend to the balcony, to rewrite your narratives, and to wield the strategic power of silence. You are the architect, the observer, and the anchor. But a fortress that is never tested is just a monument. This chapter is about the test. It is about the fire. This is where all our theory becomes brutal, unflinching practice. We are now taking our newfound calm and walking directly into the most volatile, unpredictable, and chaotic environment of all, interpersonal conflict. We are going to learn how to deal with difficult people, the aggressors, the manipulators, the critics, and the emotional vampires. We are not going to learn how to avoid them. We are not going to learn how to change them. We are going to learn how to dominate the interaction, not through aggression, but through an unshakable, immovable core of composure. This is steel in the face of fire. This is the ultimate expression of active calm. It is the ability to stand in the heart of an emotional inferno and not be burned. It is the power to absorb hatred, anger, and panic, and instead of reflecting it back, you transform it. You become the grounding rod, the one who takes the chaotic lightning of a confrontation and neutralizes it, drawing all its destructive energy safely into the earth. The reactive person has only two options in the face of fire. They either fight fire with fire or they flee. If they fight fire with fire, they match the aggression. They yell, they insult, they escalate. They may win the argument, but they have lost all control. They have become the very thing they are fighting. They are just as chaotic, just as unhinged as their attacker. They have been utterly controlled by the other person. If they flee, they collapse. They appease. They surrender. They apologize for things they did not do. They shrink, validating the aggressor's power. And they walk away feeling weak, violated, and ashamed. Both are a failure. Both are a complete abdication of self-mastery. The calm person, the anchored person, presents a third option, an option the aggressor is not prepared for. They do not escalate, and they do not retreat. They hold the center. They become a mirror. They become an anchor. They become a void where the other person's energy simply disappears. Let's get practical. We will dissect the three most common forms of fire and give you the exact operational playbook for each. The playbook for the aggressor. This is the most common fire. This is the shouter, the bully, the person who uses volume, intimidation, and raw negative energy to get their way. They are banking on a simple equation. My anger will trigger your fear. The moment you show fear, you have lost. The moment you show anger, you have lost. Here is the steal. Step 1. Anchor and observe. The attack begins. The voice is raised. The accusations fly. This is the hook. Your training immediately kicks in. You feel the jolt of adrenaline, and you thank it. It is the signal to ascend. You take your physiological sigh, that quiet, unnoticeable, long exhale. You are now on the balcony. You are no longer you, a target. You are the observer, watching a person who is in a state of deep emotional distress. Step 2. Hold the space. You do not speak. This is the disarming pause from Chapter 6, Deployed for War. You let them finish. You do not interrupt. You do not nod. You do not, you give them nothing to hold on to. You simply hold their gaze. Your eye contact is not aggressive. It is impersonal. It is the look of a scientist, not a victim. You are studying them. As they burn all their fuel, they will be staring into the calm, neutral void of your composure. As we discussed, this is profoundly unsettling. They are expecting a fight, and you are offering them a mirror. Step 3. The neutralizing statement. They have finished. The silence hangs in the air, a silence you control. The fire, for a moment, has burned itself out. Now you speak. Your voice must be the opposite of theirs. It must be low, slow, and devoid of emotional charge. You are not going to attack their argument. You are not going to defend yourself. You are going to label the dynamic. You will use a calm, neutral statement that does one of two things. A. Set a boundary on the behavior. I am not going to be spoken to this way. We are not going to have a productive conversation while you are screaming. I can see you are angry, and I am willing to discuss this, but not like this. Note the power. You are not saying, you can't talk to me that way. That is a challenge. You are saying, I am not going to be spoken to that way. It is a simple, unarguable declaration of your own boundary. You are not asking for respect, you are embodying it. B. Reflect their emotion, not their content. You seem incredibly frustrated. This is clearly very important to you. This is a master-level move. You are not agreeing with them. You are simply holding up the mirror, validating the emotion you see. This often acts as a massive diffuser. The aggressor, who is expecting a fight, is suddenly met with, "Understanding?" It short-circuits their entire script. They may even ramp down, saying, "Yes, I am frustrated, because..." They have now moved from pure, blind aggression to explaining themselves. You have shifted the entire dynamic. Step 4. Pivot to the logic. After your neutralizing statement, you immediately pivot away from the fire and onto the tracks. You are the train conductor, and you are moving this conversation to your territory, the land of calm, rational thought. So, if we can put the emotion aside for a moment, what is the specific problem you are trying to solve? I am not going to discuss who is to blame. I am willing to discuss how we fix this. What exactly is the outcome you are looking for? You have done it. You have absorbed the blast. You have set the terms. You have held the center. You did not burn, you did not break, and you did not run. You have become the calmest person in the middle of a firestorm. The playbook for the manipulator. This fire is more subtle, but far more dangerous. This is the passive-aggressive person, the guilt tripper, the victim. They do not use volume, they use poison. They use loaded questions, backhanded compliments, and appeals to your emotion to make you feel guilty, responsible, or confused. Their goal is not to win a fight, but to control your mind. Their weapon: "You're so lucky you don't have to worry about these things." Translation: you are selfish and privileged. Their weapon: it's fine, don't worry about me, I'm used to it. Translation: you are a bad person for letting me down. Their weapon: I was just joking. Wow, you're so sensitive. Translation: my insult was real, and now I will make you the villain for noticing it. The reactive person gets hooked by this. They feel guilty, so they apologize and give in. Or they get defensive. That's not what I meant, I'm not selfish. And now they are in the manipulator's game, a fly caught in a spider's web. The steel is different here. You cannot meet poison with a void. You must meet it with a light. Step 1. Recognize the hook and ascend. The hook here is not adrenaline. It's a different, colder feeling. It's that in your stomach, the feeling of guilt, the feeling of being cornered. You recognize it. You ascend to the balcony. You are no longer a target, you are a decoder. Step 2. Expose the subtext. The manipulator lives in the shadows, in the subtext. Their power requires that their true meaning remains unsaid. Your power is to drag it into the light. You are going to take their hidden, passive-aggressive arrow and hold it up for them to see, with neutral, non-accusatory curiosity. When they say, it's fine, I'll just do it myself, I'm used to it. The reactive person, no, I can do it. Lost. The calm person from the balcony, when you say you're used to it, what does that mean? Or, it sounds like you feel you're saying yes, but I'm hearing a no. I'd prefer you just tell me the truth. Step 3. The curious question. This is your primary weapon. You will meet their loaded, passive-aggressive statement with a simple, direct, clarifying question. Wow, must be nice to get to leave at 5 p.m. on the dot. Reactive: I finished all my work. I have a... Lost. Calm person: what are you trying to say? Manipulator: I guess I just care more about this project than other people. Calm person: what does that comment mean? This is a checkmate. You have done nothing aggressive. You have simply refused to accept the poison. You have handed the grenade back to them and calmly asked them to explain why they are holding it. They now have 2 terrible options. They can admit the manipulation. I'm trying to say you're lazy. They will never do this. It's too direct. It ruins their game. They can retreat. Oh, nothing. I'm just tired. In either case, you have won. You have exposed the game, you have refused to play, and you have done it without a single drop of emotional sweat. You have shown them, with the precision of a surgeon, that their poison does not work on you. The playbook for the public critic. This is the ambush. This is the fire that ignites in public. This is the coworker in a meeting or the stranger in a group who lobs a gotcha question, an insult disguised as a joke, or a direct challenge to your competence in front of an audience. Their goal is to humiliate you, to use the social pressure of the group to make you small. They are banking on the fact that you will get flustered, defensive, or angry, and in doing so, prove their unspoken point that you are not in command. Step 1. The anchor and the breath. The room is staring. The silence is heavy. This is the biggest hook of all. Your heart is an explosion. This is the moment for your training. You do not speak. You do not rush. You ascend. You take your breath. You anchor. You look at them. This initial pause is everything. It shows the entire room that you are not rattled. Step 2. Choose your weapon. You have several options from the balcony. Weapon A. The reframer. Agree and amplify. This is a high-level judo move. You take the force of their attack and you amplify it, steering it into absurdity. Critic. You seem to think you have all the answers. You, calmly, with a slight smile. Not all of them, but I am working on it. Yesterday, for instance, I was wrong about the best place for coffee. It was a true crisis. The room laughs. The tension is broken. You have just taken their serious attack and turned it into a joke at their expense, without being aggressive. Weapon B. The bridge. Acknowledge and pivot. You acknowledge their point, not agree with it, and pivot back to your message. Critic. This all sounds great, but it's the same thing we heard last year, and nothing changed. You, calm, steady gaze. I understand that skepticism, and it's true that execution has been a challenge, which is why the new system I'm proposing on slide 14 is not about ideas, but about accountability. You have not fought them. You have used their attack as a springboard to get back to your point. You have made their interruption useful to you. Weapon C, the interrogator. Turn it back to them. This is for the truly hostile, poorly formed attack. You put the burden of proof back on them. This whole plan is just a waste of time. Which part, specifically, do you believe is a waste of time? Or what specific data are you using to come to that conclusion? You are calm. You are a scientist. You are asking for data. The attacker, who is running on pure, vague negativity, now has to produce. They will almost always stammer. They have no data. You have just exposed them to the entire room as a heckler, not a thinker. The fire is not a threat. The fire is a tool. It is a forge. Every time you are in a confrontation, you are not a victim. You are a student. You are a warrior. You are in the gym, building the muscle of your composure. The fire is a gift. It is the only thing that can turn your ordinary, everyday calm into something truly extraordinary. It is the only thing that can burn away your weakness and forge your core into pure, unbreakable steel. Chapter 8. The Eye of the Hurricane. You have forged the steel to face the fire of interpersonal conflict. You have learned to be the anchor in the face of an individual's anger. Now we must scale. This chapter is not about you versus one person. This is about you versus the event. This is about you versus the crisis. This is about the moment when the entire system breaks down. When the deadline is moved up, the project collapses, the emergency call comes in, or the market crashes. This is the hurricane. A hurricane is not a single linear attack. It is a 360-degree, multidimensional, chaotic neutral event. It is pure, overwhelming force. It has no ego to mirror, no subtext to expose. It is just raw, systemic pressure. In this moment, the room is no longer just a room. It is a pressure cooker. Panic is the new baseline. You will see it in the eyes of your colleagues, your family, your team. You will see them become frantic. You will see them look for someone to blame. You will see them freeze, becoming useless. You will see them scurry, doing busy work that achieves nothing. Their minds, hijacked by the amygdala, have lost the one thing a crisis demands: the ability to think. This is where the anchored person does not just survive. This is where they thrive. The reactive person is the storm. They are swept up, they add to the chaos, they amplify the panic. They are just another piece of debris. The calm person becomes the eye of the hurricane. The eye is a fascinating phenomenon. In the heart of the most violent, destructive storm system on Earth, there is a small, protected circle of perfect calm, clear skies, and absolute stillness. This is your new identity. You are not the storm. You are not fighting the storm. You are the still, clear, focused center from which the storm can be navigated. You are the single point of order in a universe of chaos. This is calm applied to high-stakes execution. This is about performance under maximum pressure. This requires a new level of mastery. It is not just about managing your internal state. It is about using that state to make brutally effective decisions. This is the ultimate fusion of the architect, the observer, and the warrior. We will master this by learning the three-stage process of crisis navigation: filter, focus, and execute. Filter. Signal from noise. The second a crisis hits, you are not just hit by an event. You are hit by an information tsunami. Everyone is talking at once. Your phone is exploding. Emails are flying. Data is pouring in, and most of it is contradictory. This is the noise. The noise is the enemy. It is the storm's first weapon. The reactive mind, already in a state of panic, cannot filter. It treats all information as equally important. The ringing phone, the panicking colleague, the error message, and the actual core problem are all just one massive, screaming wall of, "Ah!" This person becomes paralyzed. They can't find the door because they are too busy looking at the fire. They will either freeze completely or they will start working on the wrong problem, the one that is loudest, not the one that is most important. The calm person, the eye of the hurricane, does the opposite. You have already ascended. You have anchored. You are on the balcony. From this high ground, you do not let the noise in. You filter it. You become a human-sized signal filter. Your internal monologue, your cognitive script, must be ruthless. You are now asking only one question over and over of every piece of data that comes at you. Is this signal or is this noise? Signal is actionable data. Signal is a fact that relates directly to the core problem. Signal is the what. Noise is everything else. Noise is emotion. Noise is speculation. Noise is blame. Noise is what if. Let's run a simulation. A major project server has just crashed 1 hour before a critical client launch. The hurricane has hit. Your colleague, Bill, running over and saying, "We're ruined! This is a disaster! Who did this?" An email from an adjacent department. "Did you hear the server crashed? What does this mean for our metrics?" Your own internal thought, "I'm going to be fired. This is all my fault. This is terrible." The signal is the error message on the screen, database connection failure, auth fail 05. A text from your lead engineer, main cluster is down, rerouting to backup, ETA 10 minute. The fact that the client's launch page is the only one affected. The reactive person gets lost in the conversation with Bill. They get into a defensive email war. They are consumed by the noise. You, the eye of the hurricane, ignore the noise. You walk past Bill with a simple, "I'm working it," which is not a conversation but a statement of fact. You do not open the email. You dismiss your own catastrophic thought, using the interrogator from Chapter 5. You only focus on the signal. Your calm, clear mind has just filtered 90% of the storm and reduced the entire crisis down to its 3 essential facts. You are not solving the crash, you are solving auth fail 05. You are not dealing with the panic, you are coordinating with the lead engineer. This is the first and most critical act of mastery in a crisis. You do not let the chaos in. You are the bouncer at the door of your own mind, and you are only letting in the facts. Phase 2. Focus. One thing at a time. You have filtered the signal from the noise. You have the core facts. Now, you are hit by the storm's second weapon, competing priorities. Even with the noise gone, the signal itself is overwhelming. You realize you have to do 5 things at once. Contact a client. Help the engineer. Secure the data. Alert your executive team. Reroute the website traffic. The reactive mind, seeing all 5, attempts to do all 5. This is the paralysis of overwhelm. The brain shuts down, jumping from one task to another, finishing none. I'll call the client. No, wait, I should email the execs. No, wait, the engineer needs me. This is multitasking, and in a crisis, multitasking is a synonym for failure. The calm person, the eye of the hurricane, does not multitask. They monotask. They know a secret that the panicked mind cannot grasp. You can only do one thing at a time. The only path through chaos is a linear one. You must, in a fraction of a second, create an instant, ruthless triage. You are now a surgeon in the emergency room. You are not treating the patient with the loudest complaint. You are treating the patient who will die first. Your internal monologue asks one question: what matters now? Not what matters most in an hour. Not what is the most important idea. But what is the next single physical action that will stop the bleeding? Let's look at our list. Contact client. Important but not urgent. Help engineer. Vague, not an action. Secure data. Critical. Alert execs. Important but not urgent. Reroute traffic. Critical. Your calm mind sees the path. The engineer is rerouting. That is his task. My task is data integrity and comms. The bleeding is the data loss. The second bleeding is the client relationship. You have just created your linear path. Task 1. I will execute the data backup script. That is one action. Task 2. When that script is running, I will draft one email to the client telling them we have a problem and we are on it. I will not promise a time, I will promise a process. Task 3. When that is sent, I will call the exec team. You have taken a 5-pronged crisis and turned it into a simple 1, 2, 3 checklist. You are not panicking about the crash. You are executing a script. This is the power of focus. The hurricane is a whirlwind spinning in all directions. You are a vector, a straight line. You have narrowed your entire world, your entire consciousness, to the next required action. This focused state is what athletes call the zone. It is a state of flow where the problem is so consuming and your focus so complete that your own ego, your own fear, your own sense of self disappears. There is no you worrying about the crisis. There is only the task getting done. Phase 3. Execute. The power of slow is smooth. You have filtered the noise. You have focused your priority. Now you must act. This is where the storm's final weapon is deployed, the illusion of speed. The crisis is screaming, "Hurry, go faster, faster, you're running out of time." The reactive person obeys. They rush, and in their rushing, they make mistakes. They type the wrong command. They send the angry email. They skip a step. They solve the problem, and in doing so, create 3 new ones. They have become a flurry of activity, which is just another form of chaos. The calm person, the eye of the hurricane, knows the single greatest truth of crisis management, a truth known by every elite operator, from surgeons to special forces. Slow is smooth. Smooth is fast. In a crisis, you must intentionally slow down. This seems like a paradox. It is the core truth. You will, consciously, move at 75% of your normal speed. You will make your movements deliberate. You will make your words deliberate. When you are typing that critical command, you will type it slowly, checking each character. When you are sending that critical email to the client, you will read it twice, slowly, checking for tone. When you are speaking, you will lower your voice and you will elongate your words, just slightly. This deliberate slowdown does 2 things. First, it prevents error. You are moving at the speed of accuracy, not the speed of panic. The person who moves fast and has to do the task 3 times is infinitely slower than the person who moves smoothly and does it once. Second, and perhaps more importantly, it is an act of leadership. Remember, the room is watching you. The team is panicking. They are looking for an anchor. When they see you, the person who is supposed to be most stressed, intentionally slowing down. When they see you moving with deliberate, smooth, economical motion. When they hear your voice, calm and measured. You have just injected your calm into their nervous system. You have non-verbally communicated. This is not panic. This is a process. This is under control. I am not rattled, so you do not need to be rattled. You have not just become the eye of the hurricane. You have expanded it. You have created a pocket of stillness that now includes your team. You are now all in the eye together, and from that platform you can all execute. This is the pinnacle of composure. It is not just a feeling, it is a function. It is not just about being calm, it is about weaponizing calm. It is about using your internal stillness to impose order on a chaotic external world. The storm will always come. The hurricane is a guarantee. Crises are not a matter of if, but when. Most people will be the debris tossed about, adding to the noise, becoming part of the problem. But you have trained for this. You will filter the signal from the noise. You will find the what matters now. You will move with the lethal, beautiful efficiency of slow is smooth. You will not be the storm. You will be the eye. Chapter 9. The Gravity of Composure. You are contagious. You have been your entire life. You did not know it, but every person you have ever met has been infected by you, just as you have been infected by them. We are not the isolated, independent actors we pretend to be. We are a deeply social species, wired to our very core for connection, reflection, and attunement. We are, in the simplest terms, a species of tuning forks. Most people are passive resonators. They walk into a room and their entire nervous system, their entire emotional state begins to vibrate at the frequency of the room. If the room is anxious, they become anxious. If the room is angry, they become angry. If the room is panicked, they panic. They are thermometers, merely reflecting the temperature, helpless to do anything else. Their internal state is not their own. It is a second-hand, borrowed thing, handed to them by the loudest, most agitated person in their vicinity. For all the work we have done, building the fortress, ascending to the balcony, rewiring the narrative engine, mastering conflict, and becoming the eye of the hurricane, it has all been for one purpose. It was not just to build your own private sanctuary. It was to stop being a resonator and to become the note. It was to stop being the thermometer and to become the thermostat. This chapter is about the external consequence of your internal work. It is about the invisible, fundamental force that your newfound composure now exerts on the world. This is the gravity of composure. Gravity is the perfect word. It is not a push. It is not an aggressive act of will. You do not force people to be calm. You do not tell them to calm down, the most useless and inflammatory phrase in human language. No, gravity is an invisible property. It is a natural law. It is the simple, undeniable fact that mass pulls. The more dense, the more solid, the more massive an object is, the more it warps the very fabric of the space around it, compelling other, smaller objects to fall into its orbit. Your composure is your new mass. Your anchor, your groundedness, your unshakable internal core, this is your density. While other people are like unmoored, lightweight debris tossed about by the storm, you are a planet. You are a source. When you walk into a room, you do not reflect the temperature. You set it. You do not resonate with the chaos. The chaos begins, unconsciously, to resonate with you. This is not a metaphor. This is biology. It is the work of mirror neurons. It is the science of emotional contagion. Our nervous systems are designed to find a leader. We are designed to sync up. We look, unconsciously, for the most stable, most confident, most grounded person in the group, and we attune ourselves to them. We are biologically programmed to find the person who has the best map, the steadiest hand, and follow them out of the fire. By becoming the calmest person in the room, you have just volunteered, whether you know it or not, to be that person. This gravity manifests in three profound, life-altering ways. It creates trust, it confers authority, and it provides clarity. The anchor, composure as trust. Trust is the single most valuable currency in human existence. It is the foundation of all relationships, all business, all leadership, and all love. And yet, we almost never ask, how is it built? We assume trust is built on a person's words, on their promises, on their resume. This is false. Trust is not a logical calculation. Trust is a visceral feeling. It is a gut-level, non-verbal assessment of another person's stability. Who do you really trust? Imagine two surgeons. Both have perfect credentials. The first surgeon walks in, hands shaking just slightly. His voice is high. He talks too fast. He won't hold your eye. He is frantic, stressed, and clearly overwhelmed by his day. He is, in a word, reactive. The second surgeon walks in. She is slow. Her movements are deliberate. Her voice is low, calm, and measured. She holds your gaze. She is not smiling. She is not cold. She is simply present. She is an anchor. Who do you trust with your life? The answer is obvious. We are not drawn to the frantic. We are not drawn to the chaotic. We are repulsed by it. It makes us feel unsafe. Your composure is a non-verbal broadcast. It is a message that you are sending out every second you are in the presence of others. And that message is, I am not a threat. I am not rattled. I am in control of myself. This situation, whatever it is, does not have power over me. And because I am safe and in control of my own self, you are safe with me. This is a revolutionary force. In your family, in your relationships, you stop being just another person, and you become the anchor. You become the one your partner, your children, your friends can cling to when their world is a storm. You absorb their panic, and you do not reflect it back. You absorb their fear, and you do not amplify it. You take in their chaos, and it just disappears inside your own stillness. Do you understand what a gift that is? You have given the people in your life a safe harbor. You have become for them the eye of their hurricane. This is the trust that builds empires. This is the trust that forges unbreakable bonds. It is not one with arguments. It is not one with charisma. It is one with a nervous system that is so steady, so grounded, that it gives other nervous systems permission to stand down. Your calm is a sanctuary for others. That is the first pull of your gravity. The void. Composure as authority. Authority is not a title. A title is just a label. We have all met the boss who has no authority and the janitor who commands the respect of the entire building. True authority, like trust, is unspoken. It is conferred by the group, not demanded by the individual. And it is given almost exclusively to the person who is most in command of their self. This is the most misunderstood aspect of power. The reactive person is a creature of need. They are desperate. They need you to agree with them. They need you to see that they are right. They need your validation. They need to win the argument. Their entire sense of self is a fragile thing, built on the shifting sands of external opinion. This neediness is a repellent. It is a projection of weakness. We can smell it. When someone is trying too hard, we instinctively pull back. The calm person is the opposite. They are not defined by need. They are defined by self-possession. The architect who has built his own internal world does not need you to like it. The observer on the balcony does not need the actors on the stage to approve of his perspective. He is his own source of validation. He is his own anchor. He is internally complete. This creates what we can call the authority of the void. When you are in a tense meeting and everyone is interrupting, posturing, and fighting for airtime, all of them driven by need, you are the one who is silent. You are the one who is listening. You are the one who is not trying. You are not scrambling for your ego. You are not fighting for your turn. You are simply there. An anchored, solid, neutral presence. This non-neediness is a vacuum, and it is powerful. It pulls. In that meeting, all the other needful people, exhausted by their own performance, will eventually stop, and the entire room, as one, will turn to you. They are turning to the one person who has not begged for it. They are turning to the one person who has demonstrated through their silence and their calm that they are not a part of the chaos. They are outside of it. And when you finally do speak, as we discussed in the strategy of silence, your words have gravity. They land with a weight that is 10 times the weight of the person who has been shouting the entire time. This is true authority. It is the power that comes from not needing power. It is the respect that is given to the one who so clearly respects themselves that they do not need to join the circus. Your composure makes you a void, and the world will rush to fill it. It will give you its attention. It will give you its respect. It will give you its authority, not because you demanded it, but because your self-possession was the only thing in the room that was real. The lens, composure as clarity. The final pull of your gravity is, in many ways, the most functional. When a group, a team, or a family enters a crisis, they are not just infected with panic, they are infected with fog. The noise is overwhelming. The catastrophic narratives take over. Blame, fear, and bad data are everywhere. The group's collective intelligence plummets. A room full of smart people becomes one single, stupid, panicking organism. We have all seen this. It is groupthink. It is a mob. It is a disaster. This fog is where the worst decisions are made. Your calm is the fog cutter. It is the clarifying agent. Because you are on the balcony, you are not in the fog. You are breathing a different air. And because you are the eye of the hurricane, you are not spinning, you are still. This stillness allows you to do something no one else in the room can do. Think. You are the one who asks the simple, clarifying question. As the team spins in circles, blaming each other for the server crash, your voice, low and calm, cuts through the noise. Stop. What is the error code? As the family argues about a financial problem and the what-ifs and this is all your fault fill the air, your voice cuts in. Stop. What is the exact number we need to solve by Friday? You are not just a calming influence, you are a clarifying influence. Your composure does not just lower the group's heart rate, it raises the group's collective IQ. You become the lens. By filtering out all the emotional noise, you allow the signal to become clear. You are the one who can see the path, the next single step, when everyone else can only see the monsters. This is the highest form of leadership. It is not about having the grandest vision, it is about having the clearest vision in the middle of the fire. This is the gravity of composure. It is not a small thing. It is not a nice to have. It is a transformation. You stop being a leaf in the wind. You stop being a mirror reflecting the chaos. You become the anchor, granting trust. You become the void, commanding authority. You become the lens, providing clarity. You must understand, this is now your responsibility. Your calm is not a private luxury, it is a service. It is an act of leadership and profound generosity to every single person in your life. You have worked to build this internal mass. Now you must accept the gravity that comes with it. You will change every room you enter, not by what you say, not by what you do, but by the simple, undeniable, unshakable power of who you have become. This is the reward. Chapter 10. The Unshakable Self. We have arrived, not at an end, but at a new beginning. We began this journey in the heart of the storm, a reactive creature, a leaf in the wind, hijacked by biology and circumstance. We were a thermometer, reflecting the panic of any room we entered. We looked at that self, and we made a decision. We declared that we would no longer be a victim of our own unexamined responses. We began the work. We dissected the anatomy of our own panic. We became the architect of our internal world, taking total responsibility for the structure of our mind. We forged a physical fortress, mastering the very breath and nerve that govern our physiology. We learned to ascend to the balcony, to become the calm, detached observer of our own drama. We seized the narrative engine, rewriting the catastrophic stories our minds told us, and we learned to wield the profound strategic power of silence. We forged steel in the face of fire, learning to stand in the inferno of human conflict. We became the eye of the hurricane, a center of clarity in a crisis. We understood, finally, the gravity of our own composure and how our stillness becomes an anchor for the entire world. And now we are here, at this final stage. This chapter is not about a new technique. There are no more tools to learn. This chapter is about the final, most crucial step: integration. This is the moment where practice ends and identity begins. This is the birth of the unshakable self. The single greatest shift in this entire journey is the one that happens so quietly you may not have even noticed it. It is the shift from doing to being. In the beginning, this work was clumsy. It was effortful. You had to remember to do your box breathing. You had to force yourself to ascend to the balcony. You had to consciously and with great strain interrogate your negative thoughts. You were a person practicing calm, and it felt like a heavy, unnatural act. This is the nature of all skill. When you first learned to drive a car, it consumed 100% of your focus. Check the mirror, hands on the wheel, pressure on the gas. It was a checklist of awkward, conscious actions. But what happens now? You do not drive. You are a driver. You get in the car, and the entire complex symphony of actions is automated. It is subconscious. It has become a part of you. This is what has happened to your calm. You have practiced the breath, the pause, and the observation so many times that you have forged new neural pathways. You have literally, physically rewired your brain. The old reactive dirt track has been overgrown from disuse. The new, anchored superhighway is now your default path. You no longer practice going to the balcony. You live there. You no longer try to reframe a thought. Your mind has already filtered it. You no longer decide to be the anchor. You simply are the anchor. This is the integration. This is the moment your new baseline of peace is higher than your old best day of effort. Your conscious, grueling practice has now become your subconscious, effortless character. The work is not about adding a new layer on top of your old, anxious self. It is about a total, cellular-level replacement. The old self, the reactive one, has been starved. It has been dismantled. You are not a panicked person managing your impulses. You are a calm person. This is your new identity. This is the unshakable self. So, what is the nature of this self? What does it feel like to live in this new architecture, not as a visitor or as a builder, but as the owner? First, we must shatter the greatest myth of all. The unshakable self is not a cold, unfeeling rock. This is not a journey to apathy. It is not an exercise in suppression. We are not seeking to be emotionless. That is the state of the dead. We are seeking to be unhijacked. The unshakable self is, in fact, more human, not less. Your old reactive self was a shallow, brittle thing. Your emotional capacity was tiny. The slightest wave of real anger, real fear, or real sadness would crash over the walls and flood the entire city. You were terrified of your own feelings because you knew they could and would destroy you. The unshakable self is not a fortress that keeps emotions out. It is a vessel that has become infinitely deep. You are no longer a shallow cup, easily overflowed. You are the ocean. You can now experience the full, terrifying, beautiful spectrum of human emotion, and you are not broken by it. You can feel a wave of profound sadness, and you can hold it. You can observe it, honor it, and let it pass through you, without becoming it. You can feel a flash of white-hot anger, and you can see it. You can understand its signal, use its energy, and not be consumed by its fire. You are no longer the storm. You are the sky. The storms will come, the clouds will form, the lightning will flash, but the sky remains. The sky is the witness, the container, the vast, silent, unshakable space in which all weather occurs. This is the first great freedom. You are no longer afraid of your own internal world. The second quality of the unshakable self is a new relationship with problems. The reactive mind, the mind of the storm, has only one label for a problem: catastrophe. Every unexpected event is a four-alarm fire. Every challenge is a threat to your very survival. This is an exhausting, terrified way to live. The unshakable self, the mind of the anchor, has a different label. A problem is not a catastrophe. A problem is a task. That's it. The server crashes? This is not a catastrophe. This is a task. The mind goes to process, not to panic. The difficult conversation must be had? This is not a threat. This is a task. The financial setback? This is a series of tasks. This is a fundamental shift in your entire operating system. You have moved from a life of constant emotional crisis management to a life of calm, logical process execution. You have taken the drama out of your own survival. This does not mean life becomes easy. It means you have become strong. The challenges do not get smaller. Your capacity has become greater. The final and most profound quality of the unshakable self is that the internal war is over. Most people live in a state of permanent civil war. One part of them wants to be disciplined, and the other part wants to be lazy. One part wants to be healthy, the other wants comfort. One part wants to be calm, the other is addicted to the drama. Your life was this war. The energy you wasted fighting yourself was staggering. That war is over. The architect, the observer, the anchor, these are not just parts of you. They are you. You have integrated. You have achieved an internal alignment. You now trust yourself. You trust that when the pressure comes, you will meet it. You trust that when you are attacked, you will have the tools. You trust that you are the master of your own mind. This is the end of self-doubt. It is the end of that nagging imposter syndrome. You have done the work. You have built the fortress. You have earned your own trust. You are now a single, unified, integrated whole. You are unshakable. But there is a caution, a final piece of wisdom. A fortress once built is not abandoned. An anchor once forged is not left to rust. Unshakable does not mean perfect. It does not mean invincible. It does not mean you will never be rattled again. The world is a powerful, chaotic place. You will be hit. A blow will come. A tragedy, a loss, a shock that is so great it will knock you off your center. It will send you back down to the stage. The old, reactive you, when hit, would stay down for days, for months, for years. A single blow would shatter your life. The unshakable self is not defined by its ability to never be hit. It is defined by its recovery time. You will get knocked down, and you will feel the full impact of that blow. You are the sky, and this is a hurricane. But this time, you will know what is happening. You will feel the hijack. You will feel the panic. And you will not panic about your panic. You will say, "Ah, I have been hit. This is a great storm. I am on the stage." And you will know exactly what to do. You will find your breath. You will find the pause. You will start the process. You will be the architect. You will, with a calm born of absolute self-trust, re-anchor. Your recovery time, which used to be a lifetime, will become a day, then an hour, then a minute, then a single breath. This is the true meaning of being unshakable. It is not that you are never moved. It is that you can never be permanently moved from your center. You have the map. You know the way back. And your path back is now so fast, so automated, that you are the master of your own return. The practice never ends. It simply becomes your state. It is no longer a struggle. It is just hygiene. You do not struggle to brush your teeth. You do not fight to take a shower. It is simply who you are. You are now a person who maintains their internal state as a simple, non-negotiable fact of life. So, this is the graduation. You have done the hardest work a human being can do. You have faced the chaos of your own mind, and you have chosen to build order. You have faced the reactivity of your own biology, and you have chosen to build mastery. You are no longer the student of this audiobook. You are the proof of its thesis. You have met the person you were always capable of being. You are no longer the storm. You are the anchor. You are no longer the thermometer. You are the thermostat. You are no longer the victim. You are the architect. Your internal war is over. Your gravity is set. Your new life, the life of the unshakable self, begins now. Walk into that room, any room, the hurricane, the crisis, the fire. Walk in and be the